That's a set. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if you just look at it, after 150 years, you think the best thing we can come up with is a combustible engine? Energy is everything. All right, we got, of course, in the course of my conversations, I tracked a lot of government workers. It's understandable. I'm Uncle Sam. I signed their paychecks. And we have some guys here that already worked with the Department of Energy. One of them still does. And, of course, energy is everything. And it's nice as I like to do, if I can hit people that are at the core of things that can actually try to actually make some changes from the inside, it'd be nice. And, of course, learning from them what they know, and it's always a plus. And the routine, if you like these conversations, these candid conversations, you support me. Hit the like button and, of course, share these things because, they're trying to knock us off. Subscribe and then resubscribe again because they knock off subscribers. Blah, blah, blah. Say it all the time, but needs repeating because a lot of you guys don't seem to get the message. So that's why you got to do this. And then, of course, last but not least, you go support my dumbass by going and buying one of my designs. What a great idea. Or becoming a patron. And everything's in the description. You can see the different places you can go and try to help me keep out there doing what I do. So you can be entertained. I'm doing this for you. All for you. Reward me. Thank you. If you can't do anything else, of course, pray for me. All right, let's get on the streets.
I used to be a Democrat, but I worked for the government.
Did you?
Yeah.
In what capacity?
The Department of Energy for the state. Our programs are funded by the federal government, and I quickly came to realize you have a problem, you think the government's going to solve it?
Thank you.
It's like, that's why I became a Republican. I said, the shit I would see was crazy. They were upset with us because we had not reported to the federal government how much energy was saved from the law that allows motorists to turn right at red lights. And out of the blue, my boss comes to me and says, they're upset because we haven't reported these numbers. That's your assignment. I said, what? Who gives a shit? We know it saves energy.
Yeah.
I says, how am I supposed to do this? She said, well, you're a policy analyst. It's your job to figure it out. So I called the woman from the federal government that was handling us for the figures. I said, well, how are the other states doing it? She said, oh, everybody has their own methodology. What the fuck good is the number that if everybody makes their own method for coming up with it? It's crazy.
I've talked to other guys who, worked in the Department of Energy or environmental EPA.
And I believe in energy efficiency and energy conservation, but this idea of global warming is nuts. They came up with this the last 2 years I was working there, that we changed the name of the Office of Clean Energy. And if they want to cut emissions to the point where we don't have global warming, if that is in fact contributing to it, we're going to have to go back to the way my grandfather came to the U.S. in 1895. He walked to work. My father and all of his brothers and sisters stayed in one room to keep warm. They'd take the bricks in front of the coal stove and put them in the bed at night. That's the way we'd have to go. There would be none of this.
Yeah, I know. And the whole thing's a hoax.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Like, it's a hoax. I mean, it's a hoax. It's all about control. It's all about limiting us and controlling us and the energy we use. That's all it is. Has nothing to do with anything else. But, I spoke to some young, trendy guy yesterday. We only got 10 years to get this under control or we're all going to die. I go, oh, God.
You were saying that 40 years ago.
Well, when I first was working in energy, we were going to freeze.
Yeah, I know. There's not one prediction they've come up with that has come true, yet they keep on, they keep on believing the bullshit over and over again. It's just,
It's wild.
then other guys like yourself that were honest, that were in the go. All I do is we make up stuff to spend the money because we have money at the end of the year, but we have to just spend it on redundancy.
Right.
Otherwise, because
We're going to get it next year.
Right. I mean, what they're doing now. Look what they did. He's covering up. He's covering up. Covering up what? A crime that was never committed?
They're just so pissed off she didn't win that election. They can't get over it. Can't get over it.
Well, I have to tell you, the entrenched powers are scared they're going to lose their power. That's it. And that's it. I mean, and believe me, if the real crimes were ever exposed.
And there's some Republicans like that too.
Oh God, yes. The deep state is deep state across across the board. I mean, the entrenched powers are the entrenched powers, and if real crimes and 1/10 of the reality was known, there would be a revolution for the sun hit the ground today.
Yeah, well, I've been saying that for about 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
We need a new revolution.
Oh, indeed. Well, it's going to happen. It always happens eventually.
Well, we were at the World War II Museum.
Oh, yeah.
Spent 4 hours yesterday and 4 hours the day before. It's magnificent.
Yes, it is.
And my father was in the 101st. And he came right after D-Day because I was born 6 months before we got into the war in 41. And so he was deferred until 44, January. He had a report. And it's amazing. It's an amazing project that they have there. And I said, if this keeps up, there's going to be a third world war.
Yeah, there will be.
And it's going to be the Muslims.
Yeah, well, they're being used by the globalists as a catalyst to bring down Western civilization.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing is about destroying Western civilization, bringing us down to the lowest common denominator, then they come in as the saviors. And then they all put us in, after we've wiped out a bunch of ourselves, they put us in little city-states and control us. Yeah, it's all about population reduction now because of this right here. I mean, they don't need us anymore.
No.
The only reason the elites kept us around this long to begin with is because they needed slave labor. Well, with the AI, robotic technology, most of these people are going to be out of work in 10 years. So what are you going to do? Give us, a sipper to sit around and play video games?
Right.
No. So it's about feeding us GMO foods, giving us poison vaccines, getting us sick. Bye-bye.
Right. Well, that's it. The more you can kill, the better.
Yeah. Silent weapons, baby. Silent weapons, right? Right.
The whole thing.
Right. It's all about population
Some of them are
reduction.
advocating that you shouldn't have children. It's better that you don't have children, that you kill yourself.
Yeah. Cortez even, that idiot Cortez even said that a while ago. Bob Dylan said it a long time ago that about masters of war, you flung the worst fear that could ever be hurled. You put the fear of bring children into this world. And that's what they've done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They've done it. And I was thinking about it like, when we were young, you never saw tent cities everywhere, homeless people on the street at every corner. You never saw that stuff.
No. I was surprised to see so many laying in the street here.
Yeah. Every city now. Every city now. What do you do here?
I worked for a contractor for the Department of Energy.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I worked 17 years with Xavier University. Did 33 years with the Air National Guard. and another company that I worked almost 20 years with, local company. So
Energy is everything.
it's interesting. We do the strategic oil reserves for the United States.
How's that working out?
Right now, pretty good. I'm on the technology side, so I help with the support of the IT structure. But they have engineers and everything that kind of work with all the details as far as the movement of the petroleum and stuff.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, because I mean, geez, the Department of Energy. I mean, that's powerful in itself. I mean, right there, that whole agency is like huge.
And there's different parts of it.
Oh yeah, it has to be.
Look, we went to we were riding the other day. We went down in Chalmette, right before the battlefield on St. Bernard Highway. Right before you get to the battlefield, there's this yard, and they have big, huge propellers for the windmills. I mean, they out there. And I want to go back to talk to the folks. I find that amazing.
Well, here's the deal, okay? Because I'm gonna throw some. I'm gonna throw some curveballs at you.
All right.
Okay, because I kind of looked into this a great deal. There's a documentary called Thrive. I would ask you to look at.
Okay.
Procter & Gamble, which I'm sure you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Foster Gamble, heir to that vast fortune, was groomed to be a top 0.0000001%er.
Right.
Who had an epiphany as a young man and said, listen, I'm surrounded by psychopaths and sociopaths, so I'm getting out of here.
Right.
He makes this documentary called Thrive.
Uh-huh.
Now, the first thing he exposes in Thrive is government cover-ups for over 100 years.
Uh-huh.
Now, one of the first cover-ups he exposes is the cover-up of free energy sources. Tesla technology, offshoots of that. How, they would come in, because, obviously with the amount of money involved in the energy field, the powers that be didn't want someone to come in and go, here's free energy.
Right.
Here.
Takes away from that.
Yeah. Here's a box that you can put in your house. It'll last forever, and it'll draw energy out of the air.
Right.
So they buy off patents, they intimidate inventors, they kill them. And he exposes all this. Uh-huh. And so this whole thing about, wind, solar, is really a beard to hide the real free energy that is already there, that we've had for over 100 years.
Right.
And to keep the fossil fuel industry in there going because of the money involved.
Yeah, right.
So all of this, involved with the Department of Energy, with the big oil, with the big, it's just an interweaving web of corruption and power. And all, so you
can't fight it because, by every level, there's another level.
That's why I'm saying you're right in the middle of it. You're right there. You're right there in it. And I've spoken to other guys that are, involved in the energy mix, and they said, they know about this, but they can't do anything about it. Because of the powers that be are there to strangle them if they do. They'll lose their jobs, they'll lose their pensions and everything else. But I wonder at times just think how free we would be if we were free of an energy bill.
Right.
If we didn't have to put any gas in our car forever, if we didn't have to worry about that heating bill, that electric bill at the end of the month.
Right.
How much freer could we, if people could irrigate their land by just putting a machine that would, pump water in without ever having to worry about Where would we be?
Right.
How much freer would we be?
I remember I was talking to, what was his name? The guy that did the frame, Smith. Remember Dr. Smith?
Yeah.
What was his field? But I was asking him about perpetual motion because
Yes.
we were talking about it. And I was like, how can they not create something that, that's why you just started. And once it starts, it kind of builds on its own.
That's some of the things that was covered in Thrive. Plus magnetic
Right.
fields, using magnetic fields.
Right.
You know, using magnets
Right.
to, perpetual
there's
motion. It just
poles
started, and then
and
you're
stuff.
right. And then
Right.
it just.
Yeah.
That's a set. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, if you just look at it, after 150 years, you think the best thing we can come up with is a combustible engine?
Right.
With all the other advances in technology we've had, do you think that's it? The best we can do?
And I know, like years ago, when they came up with a better engine, kind of tweaking carburetors
Yes.
and stuff like that.
The engines that run off of water.
Yeah, right.
Not steam,
Yeah.
but actually run off, of water.
Right. Yeah, because you compress it.
Yes.
Same. Well, we're gonna run.
All right. Hey, it was a pleasure
Good talking
talking to
to you.
you.
All
God
right,
bless
take
you.
it easy.
And, here's a get out of jail free card from Hillary Clinton for you.
All right.
It's good for any crime in the world.
All right. I'm gonna put it out. All right. Take it easy.
Yeah, speaking of energy, I could use some. And what gives me energy is your support. So support me. Hit the like button, share, hit that bell button, subscribe, and resubscribe. And then go buy something or just throw money at me in some form or fashion. I love you. Pray for me. God bless you. See you on the street.